Today we're going to play the role of an illustrator, and we are going to illustrate a fish for the book One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. Today we are going to have two jobs. We are going to have to create our background by printing, and we're going to have to start drawing our fish. You might start printing, or you might start drawing your fish. We're going to have a couple of different groups. So we're not going to sit at our normal table spot today. You're going to go to the table that has the paint color you'd like for your fish. So there's a table with blue and red and green, and there's also a table for yellow fish. So to draw my fish, I could draw a fish from the side, or I could draw a fish from the front, like the blue one. So I'm going to take a look at this green fish. And to start, I'm going to make my name on the back, and I'm going to flip it over. And drawing with pencil, I see a long oval shape for the fish's body. So with my pencil, I'm going to make a pretty big oval. And on that oval, I see some other shapes, like some triangles. Almost looks like mountains at the top. And this fish even has triangle tail. It doesn't have to look just like the picture. You can make your own fish too. But a fish usually has a big oval shape, and then it has fins at the top and the bottom, a tail, and then some kind of mouth. I'm going to make my fish kind of have a bubble mouth. Looks like the letter B, or the number 3. Now I can see some of my pencil lines, so before I paint this fish, I'm going to find a big eraser in the bin at my table, and I'm going to erase those spots where my shapes connected. While you're working on your fish, you might be called to the back counter to print. That's okay. You can leave your fish where it's at. You can quickly print by the teacher, and then you can come right back to working with your fish. So I am going to use yellow. So I would be sitting at the table that I see yellow paint at, and I also have white. So we have learned that if we mix white with a color, it gets lighter. So I kind of have a really nice light yellow that I'm going to use to paint my fish. I am not worried about his eye. I'm not worried about his lips. I'm just trying to paint my big fish all one color today. It's going to dry, and next time we'll be able to add an eye and a mouth and extra detail scales. If you notice, I am painting outside the lines. No biggie, because next time we're going to be cutting our fish out. So I won't even know that I went out of the lines. So you will be sharing paint with a friend or two friends, so you can help each other mix that color with white. And now my dirty paintbrush is just going to go on the plate. I'm going to put my fish in the drying rack wherever it fits today. And I might have to wait for Mrs. Cleary to call my name to print, or I might be all done with both and I can clean my hands and get ready for the to play with the blocks. All right, I am here to show you the printing part. So this is what you're going to do at the back counter with Mrs. Cleary. She is going to call your name. So she might call your name right away. She might call your name while you're working on your fish. She might call your name when you're done with your fish. First thing you're going to do at the back counter is you're going to check that Mrs. Cleary has written your name on your paper, and you're going to flip it over. At the back counter, you will find red, green, and blue paint. No yellow for the printing, just because we want a nice dark background. So you're going to find the color you want. You're going to grab the roller tool that's by that color, and you're going to kind of roll your tool into the paint. I am not trying to get a bunch of paint on here. I don't want it to be dripping. I'm actually going to roll it in there and then roll a little bit on the side. Somebody may have already done this by the time you get to the back counter. So I'm going to start at the bottom of my paper, and I'm going to try to make some lines by rolling my stamper all the way up my paper. Looks like tire tracks, doesn't it? I'm going to put another line. I might do like a finger space. I know you are excellent at finger spaces in your writing. We're going to leave a finger space for our printing. And I'm going to do another row. I might need to get a little more paint. Some of you will get 5 rows. Some of you will have a little bit larger roller and you might only get 3 rows. However many rows you get, you're going to put them in the drying rack. And you might have to go back to working on your fish, or you might be all done and you can wash up and play with the blocks. That is it for day 1 of One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. On day 2 of this project, we just finished reading this awesome book, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and we were looking at how Dr. Seuss used black to outline his pictures in this book. So we're going to do the same thing with our fish. Now that it's dry, we're going to use black oil crayon. And we're going to outline that pencil line that we first drew. And my painting is not completely dry. So bear with me as I try to get this line nice and black. So I am outlining on my pencil line best as I can. And we will be cutting these out. So if you make some oopses, that's okay. All the way around my fish. And I know my fish definitely needs an eye. Because my fish is turned to the side, I am only going to see one eye. So I'm going to make a white round shape. And I'm going to color a little black dot in the middle. And I'm going to add an outline around it. You could add eyelashes. Your fish could have some hair. So as I'm adding these things, I am making them nice and chunky. I am not just making one skinny line, because that's going to be really hard to cut out. So I'm adding hair and I'm really making it thick and dark. I'm going to add some lines on the fish's body. Dr. Seuss used a lot of line to show that the fish had texture, that it would be bumpy if I would feel it. So I'm adding some of those lines onto my drawing. I might add another fin. And I think he's looking pretty good. I'm going to cut this fish out, and then I'm ready to glue it onto my printing. At this point I have my fish cut out. I missed a couple of little white spots around those hairs, but I did pretty good. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to glue on the back side of my fish, getting a little bit of glue on all those tiny little pieces. And then I'm going to put it onto that background. And by now, you should have a name tag on that background, so you don't have to worry about gluing your name. I'm going to tap it down, trying to get all those little pieces down. And I am ready to put it in the drying rack.